The Royal Victoria Infirmary is part of the fabric of life in Newcastle. 15,000 staff work at the trust. They're always busier as winter approaches, but this will be the first with coronavirus.
We've got a very tired workforce.
We know the beast that is COVID pneumonia.
It's devastating if you get a setback.
For a couple of months in summer, there were no COVID patients in intensive care. Now staff are back in full PPE.
COVID continues to make people critically ill. It continues to make people's organs fail. It continues to cause death. That still is a frightening prospect for many people out there.
But patient numbers are half that compared to the first wave, and very few are on ventilators. To me, this feels very different from the peak in April. Doctors now know so much more about COVID and how best to treat the disease. And that means many more patients are surviving intensive care.
We feel we can offer every patient the best possible opportunity to get through it based on some much firmer science that we can draw on now compared with April.
Half the patients, like Brian, are on clinical trials. The 62-year-old is usually behind the bar at a local social club. Then he got COVID.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrified. I've had a traumatic few days. We'll just build the strength up, get better. But they will get us better. I know that.
COVID patients in intensive care are given remdesivir, an antiviral drug, plus medications to stop potentially fatal blood clots. They also get dexamethasone, a steroid. Trials in the UK showed it reduces the risk of dying by up to a third. Mohammed came to England from Pakistan in the 50s. A former bus driver, he's 87 and suffers confusion, so his daughter Shameen, who's also had COVID, is allowed to stay with him.
Very close to dying he was, honestly. It was very, very scary.
He lives with his son and grandchildren. Shameen is in the next street. COVID has swept through the extended family.
Thank God.
Allah.
He's going to thank God.
Allah
He's going to thank everybody that's helped him get home as well.
The hospital is confident it can cope with coronavirus this winter and could expand its intensive care fivefold if needed. But the more COVID there is, the greater the impact on other non-emergency care, the hip replacements, eye operations, a myriad of other conditions. And like everywhere else, patients are waiting longer.
We've got a really significant backlog. Cataracts and eye operations are a good example. Small, relatively simple procedures. But if you're an elderly, frail person, isolating, fearful in COVID times, then, you know, we're pushing those patients into deeper anxiety.
So we've got 7 free COVID ITU beds. I think they're a bit tight on non-COVID ITU beds.
For now, they have some spare capacity, but it's finely balanced, and social distancing means the hospital can't admit as many patients as before. A handful of theatres have had to be closed to free up nurses for intensive care. But surgery that was suspended in the first wave is taking place.
Waiting around, wondering if you're going to get the operation.
Kathleen should have had her thyroid operation in March. She feels fortunate it's now happened.
It's been a little bit tense, waiting around, you know, thinking, am I going to get the operation, am I not? But now it's happened, I'm absolutely elated, it's great.
Around 1 million women in the UK missed out on breast screening in the first wave of coronavirus. The Trust is determined to keep it going this time.
Well done.
The hospital is very much open for business, and staff want to continue all services this winter. But so much depends on whether coronavirus can be kept under control.